Skupper is a powerful Layer 7 service interconnect. With Skupper, you can easily connect your applications across platforms and regions, ensuring secure communication no matter where you have them running. To get a better grasp of how it works, we'll set up a distributed system with components that aren't accessible from the outside. Let's dive in. A company located in North America uses a public cloud provider to run their applications in a Kubernetes cluster. They need to run a front-end application on a particular namespace in this cluster. But for this application to work, it needs access to a payment processor microservice and to a database. But those are currently running on private networks. The payment processor microservice runs on a private cloud provider in Europe, and it's not public. The database is running on a bare metal Linux machine in South America. What's great about Skupper is that it doesn't require network changes, making it incredibly simple and easy to test out and integrate with your applications. To install it in your Kubernetes cluster, all you need to do is just apply the install YAML, which is available on the Skupper.io website. The Skupper controller watches all namespaces in your cluster for a set of custom resources, and the most relevant ones are: the site resource is the main and the mandatory one. When a site is created, the Skupper controller creates a Skupper router instance in the same namespace. The Skupper router is the core component that links your sites and routes all the traffic between the apps in your virtual application network, or VAN. Listeners are used to provide access to workloads exposed through the VAN. In a Kubernetes cluster, a service will be created to allow apps to communicate with exposed workloads. Connectors are used to expose workloads into the VAN so that they are accessible to other sites that have a corresponding listener. Listeners and connectors will match based upon the provided routing key, which is just an arbitrary string. Let's explore which resources are needed in each region. Starting with North America, the first resource needed is the site. Once a site is created, an instance of the Skupper router will be created by the controller into the namespace. Then, we need two listeners, one to the payment processor microservice and one to the database. Once the listeners are processed by the controller, Kubernetes services will be created into the namespace for each one. Moving on to Europe, we need to have a site resource, and we also need a connector that points to the payment processor pods. Once the connector is processed by the controller, the payment processor microservice is exposed into the VAN. Whether you are using Kubernetes or working outside of Kubernetes with Podman, Docker, or even a bare metal Linux machine, Skupper has you covered. That is the case for the database we have running in South America. It's running on a bare metal Linux machine. Similarly, we can create our resources on the file system and use the available Skupper tooling to run your Skupper site outside of Kubernetes. To expose the database into the VAN, we need a site and a connector that points to the IP and port of the database server. At this point, the sites are individually configured, but they are not linked yet. Let's connect the Skupper network. First, we need to create a token to the public cloud cluster in North America. To do that, we create a resource named Access Grant. The controller processes the access grant definition and generates an access token. Then, we need to apply these access tokens into the other two sites. Skupper processes the access tokens on those sites, creating a mutual TLS connection with the North America site, ensuring a secure communication between the sites. Once the links are established, the van is working and the exposed workloads are available to the front end. And this is how easy Skupper works. I hope you found this useful and that you're ready to start your Skupper journey. Thank you for watching.